allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, thank you, Lord, for this beautiful day you've given to us, and I will bless you to bestow upon us. I pray, Father, you bless each one here, or you bless the council if they make the best decisions for our community, and just pray for support for them. Sometimes it's not always a thankful job, so I thank you, Lord, for bringing these ones to serve on it. I pray you keep them, and so just give you the praise and thanks in Jesus' name.
Hey, real quick, be a long time council member and president, take a quick moment of silence for Howard. All right. Michelle, if you're ready.
Tonight I have a couple more SRF disbursement requests for a pay application at Grace's, and also a couple of the Western Engineering invoices. And we're up to number 13 on those, and that is for August invoices of Westlers, which total $6,633. Something that drawdown request, make sure we'll be there. That total of the two invoices. One's 2,406 and the other's 2,000. That is the first one, and then the second is number 14. And it is for pay application number 6 for tonight. The amount due on this pay application date is $172,260.05. And work completed to date is $1,039,648. So they're about a third of the way complete with the project at this time. What I'm looking at, a little bit of this payment will be a grant drawdown. The majority of it is SRF request. And so we are looking at $153,185.05. That one's going to 260.05 will be an SRF request. And then the remaining $19,075 will be the rest of the payments on the application number 6. So I also have that, and it would be a signature there. Need the owner to sign the approval for pay application number 6 with Grace as well. And then the authorization letter goes along with the overall reason letter. Yes. And with that amount, the request was signed at $22,035 as a business.
Do I have a motion to approve the payment to Westler and also the two SRFs?
I make a motion to approve the payment to Westler and the SRS.
Do I have a second motion? I'll second. Everybody in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oh, I see. Okay.
That's all I have as far as service tonight. So, they, the first time I came in and went out there, the water is causing a little bit of a slowdown. Building likes to.
Yeah, I tried to call into that meeting. There wasn't an issue yet. I couldn't get connected for some reason, but hopefully I'll be up on Tuesday next week. Okay. I thought about calling it, just haven't got around to it. You guys have any questions? Thank you much. Did you guys get a chance to look at the minutes and claims?
Yeah.
Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve these.
Do I have a motion to approve claims? Do I have a second? Everybody in favor, say aye.
Aye. Matt?
Yeah, Trust Indiana, insurance. Interest gain in August was $611.04. On that part, I talked about this a little bit in the meeting before, that, NDOT, they're gonna, whoever the contractor is, from right there on 67 where 157 runs up to the bridge. And Jim knows a lot about this, probably more than I do. There is a manhole sewer thing has to be moved. It just has to be moved. NDOT doesn't ask for your permission. They vetted everything like they do, and this project's gonna be done, and that thing's gotta be moved. And the contractor, Danny Williamson,
That's the engineer on
the engineer, okay, he's one that when I found, where I sort of got pulled in because it's gonna cost about $30,000 to do. So, Danny got hold of us and said, how much sewer money do you bring in, maybe we can give you a hardship thing from the state and they'll pay for it. And I think it's like 650,000 last calendar year. Theirs is, it's not calendar year, but July 1, June 30th this year. And they said, no, we don't qualify for hardship. The contractor won't pay for it, NDOT's not gonna pay for it. So I looked at NDH restricted, which is exactly what it says, restricted. I thought maybe I could talk to State Board of Accounts, maybe they would give us an idea if they could pay we can pay from there, got like 60,000. And Mitch, Hicker's last name, he's really the top guy on the cities and towns, said, it doesn't look like that's gonna work. He said, but you need to talk to your lawyer. So that's where I'm at. I haven't talked to Darla yet, but that 30,000 has to be paid, and we're the ones that are gonna pay it. And I'm hoping Darla might be able to get it to where she could see something in that statute about the NVH restricted fund that we could actually pay it. Because that is, they said no. So if it's a no, then it's gotta come from one of probably 2 or 3 places. General fund for rainy day, NVH didn't have anything in it. It just basically keeps afloat. There's really nothing in Riverboat. I don't know what that is. Again, but that is another problem because we take a lot of stuff from that. So that's what I know. I don't know the gist of the logistics of the actual work. What I know is I'm the last one to talk to is to pay. And that's what I've come up with so far, but I will talk to them.
So who originally installed that? Who was responsible for the job to install that manhole and the?
What hasn't happened yet.
Oh, it's off the side of the road right now, but they're gonna widen this curve out, so it's not like this, it's gonna be more of
Right?
they're gonna widen it out on both sides, which I said, drop it down. There's manholes in every highway I've ever seen. I don't see a problem with it, but they don't wanna do that.
So it's gonna cost us approximately $30,000. And while then, what you have to do whenever they complete it is pay half ahead, or when, I don't know when they start or when they stop, and then 6 months pay the other. And it's gonna happen, we're gonna pay for it. Those are the two things that happen. But where we pay for it from, MVH restricted would be a great place if Darwin could look at it and say so, but we weren't gonna state board of accounts that said no. And I'll get rid of on it, we use it, and it's not right, go right.
We made the inquiry initially about changing the road layout on that job.
So, I mean, that's all NDOT's
They
deal.
approached us about making the change. We didn't request the change.
No,
State.
that's the NDOT's doing the whole thing, but yeah.
And I worked for NDOT for about 4 months, 14 years, maybe a little longer. And their stuff, they are 4 or 5 years away. When they start, they look at it, it's probably 4 or 5 years ago. And then they start vetting it, they start having meetings, people may or may not know about them, but they do all this. They've got every duck in a row, and they will not do it. They're very, like that, That's one thing I do know. So, when I was there, we were working on funding this. So, it's still like started, and that was 1.5 years ago when I was even involved in that.
So we're looking at the middle of next year before we would.
Right. Right, that's when and whenever they have to do it, I know they do it probably as they go.
Yeah,
So maybe
when they
it's
get to
something
that
we
point, yeah.
But I can talk to Darrell in the meantime, we've got some time, but you really don't want to take it from sewer, even though it may be used from that, It's really one of probably 3 funds you can.
Is that 30 grand, did that come from, engineering or the contractor guy that was working with them, or is that just a rough estimate?
That was a rough estimate from Danny. Well, first he said around 20, he said, well, I'll just call it 30. So it was like somewhere in that range. Now they just really stick it to us off. I think it's probably.
And would you guys have to do anything with that, or are they gonna handle all of that?
They'd be doing it all, there's really nothing I can do for what they're gonna do.
I was gonna say, the responsibility and the liability.
Yeah, I suggest just to put not as tall a riser on it, or bring the riser up to wherever the grade's gonna be.
Right.
And see sewer manholes everywhere in the highway, but they don't wanna do that.
So they moved it completely?
I really can't answer that, what their plan is on that. But they don't want it in their road, so yeah, I'm assuming they're gonna move it over.
Yeah, the drawings they left for me, and then there's the town hall, I don't know if that's included in there, because they sure didn't talk about it when we met with them and walked it all down.
No.
There was a hydrant being moved, and I think a storm
There's
drain.
one right here.
They're redoing all those storm drains right there too. It's coming down here to this ditch, and instead of going underneath the Griffin building, it comes straight down and hit this ditch right here at Legion.
I just do that to bring it. Nothing really to do about it right now. Things to do.
Are you good till we get to other subjects
On,
on your part of it? Clerk treasurer report?
yeah, that's really all I had to say about it.
Okay. Did you get something else, Michelle, or? you
Yeah,
just hanging out?
I just came out here.
Well, I guess I did have something on the park. Do you think to go into that real quick? Or what we're gonna do, like, do it out there?
I think the park board should make a decision, and then we can discuss it at a meeting.
Yeah, that's.
Tim, did you and Roy have anything else to add besides the?
Not really, we're pumping on the oxbow for them. Doing some mileage and everything else.
Right.
Other than that, no, not really.
Brady?
Well, like Pete said, and I think that this business as usual this month is we're getting the things together for let some money again. So, I'm trying to figure out a way to get the abstract companies and things to give our office a call before they close on property. Because we're having a hard time collecting like $1,000. If it's not been liened, the title companies aren't picking them up, the property transfers, and then who do we go after? So I've been talking to new realtors about that, they've got to let us know. I said, if you called Duke Energy, you call the water company to see if there's any outstanding things there, but they're not calling us. I don't know how we're missing this. But I'm open to ideas if anybody has any ideas. I thought about a letter to the banks, and let them know that we need to be contacted.
We can put a lien on a property, and then they do a title deed lien search.
Right.
With that lien that you put on file with the courthouse, and I'll show up.
It would be, but I'm just gonna be honest. The liens, and we're doing those as much as we can. I'm tied up on stuff. So it's kind of like every couple months, we'll take a look at it, and then by the time we get the letters out. And Lily has been a big help, but I knew she was leaving, so I didn't still have that on her, or get that far into the job with her. But there's money to be had right there. I just need the time to process the stuff. I mean, you have to cross all your T's and dot your I's on it. But, yeah, and what's happening is that by me not getting the liens on in time, we're getting stuck with $800 that we're trying, or more that we're trying to collect. So my office needs to do better getting the liens out and regular. When Debbie was here, I done the liens every month. I sent out late letters and I done liens every month. But since I've been winging it by myself, there's just not time. For some reason, my job just seems like it keeps adding and adding. So that's where we're failing on our part. So, but meanwhile, I'm trying to get them paid.
Good.
The yard sales went well. Only a couple wrecks. Wrote some tickets and the normal. We did have, so I don't know if everybody knew it, but everybody lost power today, right? Like everybody, I think, pretty well lost it. There was a major transmission line hit, I think, up in Clay County. So the camera. No. Like this morning. This morning. Yeah, this morning. So separate issue. So everybody lost power. I don't have the alerts on down at the dump just because there's construction going on and my phone goes off like crazy. The only thing that actually goes off is like if we lose power, the system goes down. And for like that power outage was around 7 this morning. And then there was a bunch of incidents that happened like between like somewhere around like 8, 9 o'clock where it was just my phone was just ding, 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 popping off. So I was trying to see if maybe they were like nudging a line or something and was checking some of them. And I didn't see that, but I did hear, I don't know if anybody knew this, but those cameras all have audio, like pretty good audio. And there was discussion about like tripping a breaker. And every time, the breaker kept tripping. So I don't know if that's a contractor or what the deal is with it, but I've reached out to another agency that has cameras that are pretty much undetectable, period. And those will be going up to figure out why a contractor's messing with power to cameras and things like that. So, but those will go up down there.
We had trouble with the blowers. We was messing with the breakers this morning because the blowers were off.
Okay. Yeah. Well, like I said, they'll be up there.
The big blowers was off and there was some other breakers tripped in the box.
Yeah. Well, but those will be down there for a little while just to make sure. That's all I got.
Old business, Worthington Fire Territory financing discussion.
Fire Territory Board is asking again for some kind of movement on the PS lit funds. And it, usually, like me, if you get reports that show how many runs they make, the percentage that go to Worthington instead of the townships that feel that there's an imbalance in funding, that Worthington should have more against it, out of lit public safety. And we know there was a little bit of an issue just before I came in about that. So, when we're money back here, the police department's using it, and they're using just, it's just running off of what's every month they're using. So I was just basically asked to bring that back up to see if the board might consider that. As I talked to Jeff quite a bit about it. Even though I will say, I try to convince him that they get a lot from us in a building, really nice. So 2/3 of this building is theirs, basically. They get to use it for the prize and the fundraisers and all that stuff over here. We don't charge them anything for anything. We pay all the bills. I don't know if he's satisfied with that, but I don't know everybody know that he did that. So there was an idea, they wanted to ask, they might want to try to switch provider units, and provider units just basically use the one that pays the bills for the most part. And you do get a little extra funding for that, but not a lot, through taxes. I think personally, I'd just as soon not do that, because I can keep an eye on stuff. They're very honest, there's no doubt that. But if you take that away, then they still have all this for free maybe, or should they pay us some kind of rent on it? If we aren't able to keep our hands on that, on the account, just check and stuff like that, which is just due diligence, it's not easy for that. But it's, that's up to the council, I know. But they haven't, I don't think he's formally brought that up, because I told him, please come to a meeting and talk to the council. But I don't think he wants to come to a meeting.
No, he does refuse to come to a meeting. I was on the Fire Territory Board. I had to step down. So we're gonna have to, at some point, if we're not all here, appoint somebody else to it.
It doesn't have to be a board member, I don't think.
I think so.
Okay.
Representative, board representative, public.
Yeah, so Chad probably.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I've been in one meeting, and it is I don't mean saying bad, but a lot of discussion about those same things, and tried to, me and Garen went last year to a meeting with the board, and he said flat out, he said, you're not gonna get any money for a while like this, because it's been used, and what it's done, some of it's safety used for the police department, or a lot of it, has let the general fund build back up. Now, I was saying, well, God, we're probably right at 170 as a general fund as far as what we have in it. After we get the taxes, there were smoke clears in the year, we're probably around 170, 180, which is a good place to be, as Dustin's talking about. And that part's good. The sewer, we know that's hands off, and that's month to month, boys. That's just a scary deal, no matter how you slice it. But these other funds are holding their own. So I don't know if you want to go, what happens if you go back, we got to fund the police department, that whatever that amount is, 100,000 a year, we're back to 50 or 60. So I just was bringing that up. I know you wouldn't want to, I just told them that I would bring it up.
Okay.
I have a question about that. So I'm here every day, and we get a lot of calls out. So they talk about how many runs they have, but how many are they actually going to in town?
I sincerely don't know. I know that the higher percentage is Worthington. I do know that, and I know that the funding he shows me because of the property taxes, which that's all gonna change now. I have no idea what his new wants to do. Our governor, I don't think the governor knows what's his heart. But all that to say, is there any other comments about the runs back in there in the back? No, okay. So that's a very sensitive issue with some of our employees, so I really don't have to answer that. I don't think the runs that are called in and the runs that are made, I hear there's a little bit of discrepancy higher than they should be. And I don't know that for sure, that's just what I heard. And I don't mean to argue the point, because I know I know a lot of guys who are good guys.
For sure.
It's about money, that's what it's just.
So on the medical run side, I've been in talks with the director of the county EMS, and probably end of this month, early next month, we'll start the process or start actually rolling out the police vehicles being BLS non-transport units. So whenever the red truck shows up, the small pickup truck looking red truck shows up at your house, that vehicle is certified by the state as a BLS, which is basic life saving or basic life support non-transport. So it's basically an ambulance that doesn't transport you. So by the end of this month or early next month, we will start the process of our police cars having the exact same certification with the exact same equipment operating underneath the ambulance service. So our officers, when they're out and even when they're on call, if an EMS call comes out, they'll be dispatched as well, and they will respond. Unless they're handling a police matter, they will be responding to your EMS calls with the same equipment that they're going to show up with. So
I guess at the end of all this, if there's no action to be taken, that's well. But if there's some action the council wants to take. Of course, it would take an ordinance. If you said, well, we would like to give them so much out of this, that I'm not saying you want to, I'm just saying if you did, you could discuss it, even vote on it, but it's not kosher until it's on an ordinance. If you want it, I have to bring that up. I was asked to bring up.
Right.
If the council is willing or if they need to. So if you don't entertain it, that pretty well, I'll just say there's no action taken.
At this point, I don't think there's enough information for us to make an ordinance to submit and edit, right, a change on a scale to the revenue they're expecting or requesting.
That's what I'll.
Tom's got it.
They haven't made a formal request at this point, have they?
Not at
Simply-
any-
Simply ask Matt to bring it up as a topic of discussion.
Well, here's the thing. I have a lot of points about that. And possibly even questions. So Chuck won't come to a regular meeting, but he can request a special meeting. Because we got other things we take care of, and it's probably gonna turn into a lengthy meeting, even though we all know the reasons behind what he wants, and, so that's what I would say, he can request a special meeting, since he doesn't like this type of setting.
A special meeting of the three members of the WFT, the town of Worthington and Jeff and Smith, right?
We'll extend that opening, what is it, 8 to 3 now?
3:30,
8 to 3:30.
12 to 3:30.
Currently, it's 12 to 3:30.
Okay,
Current.
so we'll do it from 12 to 6 in the evening. Does that sound fair with what we discussed? Or if you wanna stick around until 7, totally up to you, but John would said, or had said he would go down there, watch and walk up. We're done. That gives the citizens that work during the day, it's not a very long time slot, but a time slot each week to be able to haul, brush, grass clippings, whatever it is, they have accumulated.
So John would then step in after the 3:30 time currently you're operating, and then take it to
And then,
3:30
you
to
know,
6.
If he's got something that comes up and he can't do it, I'll do it. Or maybe one of you guys volunteer to do it here and there, but it's once a week. Just to prevent people from having to be down there on a Saturday. Saturday's the ultimate, but let's see how this goes and how it works, and, we've got the cameras, so
So you go ahead and vote on that.
we can.
For the time extension.
Yeah, for John, you're giving John permission to go down there and do that.
John, you're on board with this?
Yeah.
Yes.
And I might check liability just because I don't have to force you to check liability.
Okay.
Oh, but tomorrow, I've already had plans for tomorrow.
Yeah,
Anytime
so,
after that.
Um,
I'll be glad to do it.
I'll make a motion to extend the hours pending the approval of the liability concern, having a citizen volunteer on site.
do I have a second?
I'll say.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. New business, we already took care of that, Michelle, the Gray's pay application. I wanted to add in there, I don't know if that's heard about it or not, I talked to Chad about it. It was brought to my attention that Dane Goodman, he's got a building over here by the street department. He's really dropped the price, he's really wanting to get rid of that. 85,000 is what he's down to now. So the recommendation to me was is we buy that for the street department, for their equipment and office space, because their current office space is just absolutely eaten to pieces by termites and is a danger. So,
Okay.
no active ones, okay.
Inactive.
So what I'd like to do is ask for a motion to move forward. So real quick before we do that, I did reach out to First Financial, their commercial mortgage department, got back with me. They're asking, he had first told me that municipalities can get away with no down payment, but what he had emailed me was a $16,000 down payment, a 20-year, yeah, a 20-year at $507 a month. So if we get approval, I can get different quotes, if we want to move forward with the purchase of that building.
Let me get the next together. So 85 is what he's asking, and that's what you're offering, right?
Right, that's what he's moved it to get rid of it. I don't think it's gonna go any lower.
Right. And so it's if it's through for financial commercial, it's 16,000 down and then 20 years of 507, is that what you said?
Yes.
What the interest rate on that is?
No, he did not give me a formal quote. And just for an idea, because this was toyed around with Roy and Tim and Jake got quotes of building a new building down at the dump. That was a quotes and the sizes. This building over here is a 38 by 60, or was it 36, I told you?
36 by 60.
Yeah, something like that. Brian and I measured it the other evening. Plumbing's already in, water and sewage is ran, just not hooked up. So, and electricity. No, I've seen a little, is that transformer for the current street department?
It's not a transformer, that's just a box for,
Internet,
Spark
or a spark light.
Okay.
That box there is spark light.
So would they bring that in from the pole to the weatherhead overhead, or would that be a married line to the transformer base running? Because there's gonna be a big price swing depending on what we're allowed to put in, being a municipality and commercial lot. Just coming in overhead, not that expensive.
Well, the line comes in overhead on the other building,
On the old building.
in between the old building and that new building is where it comes in, I believe.
So there would be any reason to think they would expect different?
I assume they could lay one right in there.
We didn't have to put that down.
That's what he told me, but in the email, it was an informal quote. He just had the text in the body of the email. He didn't have an attachment with it, so that was just an idea for us to, of what it was gonna be to discuss, so. Obviously, it'll come down to financing for that.
And we talked a little bit about where it's going from. We have to get that line up.
We're sitting here discussing, we're going to pay $30,000 for something that NDOT's forcing us to do. We didn't ask them to do it, we request this be done, all of a sudden we're going to need $30,000 bill. So we're discussing how we're going to pay for that. Don't you think we should discuss how we're going to pay for 85?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that was my point. The 30K is no choice.
I don't know why we're stuck with it, if they're the ones requesting it, but if
I
they
know.
are, I'm like,
I don't
that's
care.
why I asked if we request.
I don't care to try to-
They come down here and figure it out.
I can definitely dig into it.
Seems like a load.
I think I know 99% what the answer is. but I can dig into it.
Well, you're gonna check the market.
Yeah, I'm gonna take, yeah, NDA's restricted.
They're different.
They're different sizes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
We're just, it's a deal.
But if you do approve it, I think it'd be good
Well,
to
it's 36.
let me know where it is. It's 30, like I said, 30, if it's not a age restricted, general fund, something's gotta come out there and pay for it. And if this you want to do, it's the same way. We've got Brady Day at about 24, which is non-replenishing, means when it's paid out, it's gone. And then the general.
So to finish that building out, can we look into getting quotes for, and what's the process then? You guys gonna build your own office and run all your fixtures and plumbing, electrical, et cetera? Or, and then insulate everything? Because I assume if it's a shop, we want to heat and air it. If it's an office, we gotta heat and air it. So there's a lot to just finishing the building out. So we're at 85 here. I almost feel like we gotta open a construction loan on the back end, because you got another 25 grand. If we're 25 to 30 grand, if we're paying someone to do it, a big chunk of it will be just the system.
That would go back into your payment would be 507.
No, no.
Right.
So I don't think we're an $85,000 building, I think we're at $115,000 to $125,000 building. There's a ton of value in having the lot and the property with utilities already run through it. I'm a huge advocate of that, because, yeah, it's 85, and we're looking at comparing the building at 60. But I mean, at 85, you've got the lot, the driveway accessibility is there, the gravel's been done, the grading's done, the utilities are roughed in. There's value in that. It's 85, but there's something there that's been done. But we're nowhere close to having that as nothing more than what it is now, we're minus shell. That's the only concern I have, is where do we go from a shell to a finished usable space for you guys? Because otherwise we buy a shell and it sits down there, and we're making monthly payments on it, with $60,000 down payment, and they're still operating out of the old shop. Because that's the functional facility right now until however long it takes to get out of that.
Yeah, like I said, my main concern is with it.
They have a full-time job, I have a full-time job. I have a house I'd love to be flipping right now, but it's not being touched because I don't have time. They have a full-time job. How much time are they gonna have to build an office, insulate a building, rough in fixtures, plumbing, electrical, et cetera? How long will it be before they're ever functioning in that building? Those are questions I would like to ask and get answers from those guys' estimations before we don't jump into a payment that's not gonna be 507, 1,500. Or we're gonna pay directly out of general fund to fund supplies, materials, et cetera.
They were back,
Labor is labor if they do it all themselves. No,
back to square one.
that would like a lot of materials.
Let's stay till we can all come together
I feel like we're just not there.
and do a special session.
I'd like to connect, get a little more information. maybe
Sure.
See if, see what kind of materials. The other guys could use, it's a nice building.
Oh, for sure.
If we could maybe get it for a little less and invest that back into it,
Well, we just found out tonight about the $30,000 fee we got to complete, so.
Yeah, that's good news.
That's the news, yes.
That's some good news there.
If we could shop around, I use, I still work with my car, that works pretty good. We get that, sensor that heat. So we can shop around and see how much it's gonna cost, as a total, maybe, and then go from there.
All right, we'll take that. Matt? I don't have anything else on the agenda. You guys have anything to bring up?
Actually, something that was brought up a couple of meetings ago, maybe one meeting ago, was what we were gonna do, with the uncovered car,
Right?
and the opportunity to utilize that, drop an asset, pick up an asset,
Yeah, that
that kind of
guy
guy.
went away last.
Is that something that we wanna bring back up in discussion when we're either all here or something moving forward? I think we're moving out of mowing season.
Right, no, they got dropped. Am I incorrect?
Yeah, I think that it was decided that what they had was suffice.
Is that what we're gonna move it?
That's, I'm looking at utilizing it since the street department doesn't want to utilize that as like swapping asset for asset. So I'm going to utilize it. I've got a couple things that I'm waiting on quotes to come back from. So And Darla also knows the plan. She's just waiting on the information to add so that she can send the paperwork so that we can do it right.
Okay, so then that was put down, street department doesn't want to move forward with that asset.
Right.
That's the way I understand it.
Sorry, last one. You guys review this, I know Chad and I were in here at the 4 o'clock meeting for the budget. Do you have any questions, Dustin?
Not this time.
Now, the thing about the budget is, today is the budget hearing. So you gotta vote on, if you wanna leave it like it is, that's fine. If you wanna make changes, as long as the total amount doesn't go over the total amount that we're asking per fund, you can change it. So if you wanna increase something 5,000, you gotta vote.
So as long as the budget operates within that unit total on the last page, that's what you're saying. So that's what
But you
you're,
need to-
that's your final request that you're gonna request.
Yeah, we need to do it, you need to let me know what you wanna change.
Back on that then, where we were talking about with the part-time.
Bring up to speed on what was discussed, at least part that I know of. Right now, this Baker is, Madam Sheldon, is the administrative assistant to Reed. One thing I wanted to get cleared was who is the actual, her supervisor. And I want to let you know, it's not going to be the dental Lily, she's my daughter, basically, I can do it anyway. So the new, as I understand it, the discussion we had at the budget hearing was Reed works for the board. I work for the citizen of Worthington, that's who I, as a county, she's county. It was suggested that she could have her administrative assistant, the person she's seeking, to be supervised by Reed. It's sort of what happens now. But for me, there's really no one that can come and help me do my job for most. It's just technically, that's the way it is. So if she would report to Reed, that would, I want that, I want it in writing, or I want it set. I don't want someone to say, are you hurt? No, I'm not at all. And that can work that way, and then if the line of succession works there, it was suggested that she could spend part of her time helping the police department with IDAX, which has to do with calling in plates and stuff like that, very much quicker, using a mobile IDAX system. The county's had IDAX for, since I can remember. But using that here where it'd be quicker to get the information they need, instead of a phone call or whatever they have to get. Where she might be able to spend some of her time. Another thing is, how do you want to pay that person? How much do you want to pay that person? Full-time, part-time, what do you want to do?
Well, until our current employee has resigned, I think we can think about that and discuss it once that has happened. In my opinion.
The problem you have is you have this in front of you now.
Yeah, if we have to plan for that. we
The budget.
can Plan for it.
I mean, whatever we do tonight, whatever you do tonight is what's gonna be done. I mean, that's what goes to the state. You can't change it this year. Now, if next year you say, hey, we wanna put her on salary, well, that was a suggestion, that she doesn't want some of the benefits like health. The thing is, she needs to sign a paper waiving that. We also discussed having a job description for Reed, who she has none now, and then have one for her assistant, and we have none now. And put some of these things that the police department is looking at and all that kind of stuff. Now, I have several questions, but what I have to do is have you do what you do. Like, since she's salaried, is she eligible for this? Can it be called salaried and do part-time? Because she works whatever hours. I don't think it can, but I don't know that.
Leader part-time, you have to be paid hourly. You
That's-
have to track those hours, so
Okay.
seeking part-time.
You know much more about it than I do. What I told the ones discussing it was whatever you do, I have to check up on. I don't have a choice. So if you want to make her full-time or salary, if that's the case, then you need to get the numbers straight to take care of it. If you're gonna pay her 32 a year.
Where is she listed on where is she listed on the?
Well, right now-
line? As extra hire?
Right now it's under extra hire at $10,000 in the general fund. I understand that the sewer fund, there is no budget. The sewer fund is an enterprise. You gotta pay out of it, and that's what takes care of it. So the sewer side, you're safe on, except for the fact, you know how tight we run on the sewer.
Yeah.
So there's a suggestion also made that some be paid out of like PS Lit if this new person would help, the police department. And that's all well and good, but you have to make those choices now. Otherwise, you gotta go through the whole additional appropriation system next year, which I don't care to do, because I've done it for years, only Canada. But if you have to do that, you understand you can't fix it without coming back and doing, you may have, matter of fact, what you have to do is, it's sort of funny, not funny. You'd have to do an appropriation reduction, like if it's, let's say we're going into PS Lit, well, we can lower this, you know, if Jake would want to give you 5,000 to pay her 5, well, you gotta do an appropriation for what you're increasing, you gotta do an appropriation for what you're decreasing. That makes sense, sort of goofy, but that's what it has to be done, and I don't care to do it. But if you do it tonight, that saves me some time, but if not, that's okay too, because that fixes it.
So can we budget for it tonight and say something doesn't happen? The money's just gonna be there?
Yeah, because again, this is not money, this is the ability,
It's just paper.
this is permission, I mean to say it,
You're
This-
requesting.
appropriation is permission to spend the money you have.
But I mean, you got an extra hire in here and it's.
Right, yeah, if you say, well, we don't want to do that because we're gonna do something else,
We're not gonna be able to cover it anyway.
Well, the rest comes
Well-
out of the sewer.
No, we're just
the-
gonna tighten.
Well,
Yeah.
currently it is coming out of the sewer.
half of it is coming out of sewer. Now, if you want to pay her 32 a year and Jake wants to give you 5 out of PS Lit, he just has to give me 5 to take out.
So at $18 an hour, 32 hours, which I feel like is treading the line too close to part-time, full-time. I don't know, I would run that close as far as restricting her to part-time hours. I'd actually probably back that down, because you're gonna have some times where she might go a little heavy or a little lean.
You know what, when
I
I
know
read,
32, we need to be pushing.
I emailed the council, I didn't mean to interrupt, I'm sorry. But I emailed the council about the idea of part-time. Part-time can work, it's not limited to 29 and a half, on what, right over my head. This has to do with Obama. If it's 29 and a half or more, I think it's 29 and a half is the line, then she is eligible for health insurance. That's the big thing.
What
Now, she,
signing off.
well.
That's why I didn't like the 32 hours.
Right, and see that, again, this takes you back to this, if she works 32 and she doesn't want health insurance, if she moves to Reed's job and retires, if she quits and someone else comes in, that's your bottom dollar, that the hours this person is getting has to be eligible for the health care. If she wasn't and rejected it, that means you can't just say, no, we changed our mind. I've been down this
But
road.
then she moves from a part-time employee to a full-time employee, so then her hours would change, thus
The
acclimating her and
I
allowing
think
her.
it's not about replacing the part-time.
hours don't make her full-time because she works more than 29 and a half. That's all about health insurance, I found out. I didn't know that before, I just thought 29 and a half is your full-time, that's not it. It's health insurance, which is, we know is a major expense. So if you put her on salary, and you say it's full-time, I fully agree, I think that makes sense to me, that the case. Then she should be eligible for health insurance, and she rejects it, that's fine, but the next person coming in, you can't say, well, we're not gonna offer you, try to slide it by, you can't do that. They have to be offered health insurance. So I'm just saying, I know you wanna have time to think about it, the problem is, you haven't got time as far as the budget sits now. You can, if you say, well, we're gonna do this, you can put the salary order, say she's full-time salary, and she signs off on all that, next year, you gotta fix the budget with different appropriations and reductions, and you move stuff around, which, like I said, I can help you do that, I don't care to do it, I've done it before. That's where you're gonna be, if you don't do it tonight, you're gonna have to do it next year, no matter whatever you're gonna do, basically. But that's what I thought about the salary. To me, if your salary, it doesn't matter how many hours you work, but you're gonna be full-time. I mean, how can you not do that? I think it'd be good to have more information, and that'd be fine, I'll do that. But you still have to do something like this, because if you don't say this is what we wanna do, it falls back to last year. Oh, my, for this year. That's just what.
She said you paid from 3 different accounts.
Yeah.
So at $18 an hour, at part-time hours of 32, that's 28 grand.
Well, the discussion, does anybody want to say, well, they talked about paying her possibly 36,000 as salary. And then the hours wouldn't really be an issue.
And then I would expect her to work 40 hours a week if she's.
Well, the thing, again, that if,
She's good with 32 hours. She's gonna quit a full-time job to come here. because she's got a little girl, she doesn't wanna work second, third shift. Her goal is to come here, take over for me when I retire, or I may go to part-time and help her for a while until she gets in. I have not put a lot into Lily because I knew she was leaving, but there is enough to keep her busy and for us to bring more money in regularly for the sewer. Right now, we bring in about 80,000 a month. 75, 80,000 a month.
Did everybody pay their bill? What's
If
the back on that?
everybody paid their bill.
And what,
What would it? What would
and
it
see,
be?
sewer's not the problem. I have to tell you, sewer's not the problem. Because she's not gonna get any more, I don't care what she's paid, now this is just me as the finance guy.
So what,
I'm not gonna take any more out of sewer pay. It's gotta come from somewhere else.
where's that, is that the one that said utility clerk, 5,000?
Where's that at? I'm sorry.
130, line item code 137.
Which page is it on? Is it on
Page
first?
one.
No, that's Reed's, and this is why. You gave Reed a raise last year, gave a solid raise. It had to come from somewhere, and the council at the time did not want to sewer, make it any more than it already was.
Yeah.
So I moved that over, we took it out.
I can't,
That's the 5,072 is to take care of the rest of her raise. Because her funding did not change in sewer.
I was just looking for the sewer page.
No, because sewer has no budget.
Right.
Sewer is an enterprise system, you have to pay your bills.
What's the numbers we're paying her on that, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, it's the very same we pay out of this, which I think she'll probably end up making 20. When did she start?
They match each other?
She started, she's been here almost all year.
Well, say if she made the 28, then 14 would come out of the vote. The problem with that is it looks like we're gonna be higher than next year. So,
That's what I was thinking, just basic math. That's
Yeah,
not
it- it's-
Number anything.
I'm gonna, like, coming in last year, I was really agreeing with what the town does. But it will be fixed next year. When she gets up to 10, it's gotta stop that.
If we're 29.
But you can-
Get closer, you can have it.
You can do something with the 10, so you have to do it now, or we have to do whatever later on. And we talked about that. If you wanna take it through that's why.
If we do that though, if we add more to that 10 to be able to provide somebody to come in the office, we have to pull that money. from-
That same amount has to go along. It does not matter. You cannot go over that total 40, 24, you can't go over that. You just can't. Now, there's a ways of doing it, but I will tell you, I got tight as I could. I really did get as tight as I could. Health insurance, that's what we pay Ed and Caleb on, and plus 10%. And I'm just not guaranteeing you, it's gonna be at least 10%. Because that's what, this last year was 10 point something. And I don't see it going down. I don't see it staying. The utilities, I did that because we write a lot out, we have tons of utilities we pay for, different folks. That's why,
The firefighter paid, is they were $12,000 a year, general.
well, I will say this, if you look on the left side, look at the numbers on the left side, the 4-digit number is 2501 or 2502. That's the fire department, they do their own budget. You do have to approve what they have, but you can't go for anything else with fire department stuff. Yeah, that left margin shows you the numbers that will count in our system. Or if you tell me what page it's on, I'll be glad.
Page 4.
Okay, so with the approval of this, if a part-time person does come on, we just gotta figure out where to pull the money from.
Yeah, see, the thing is, if you approve the budget without really digging into that part of it, and then you decide to bring a person on, if it would be who we're thinking as a salary, and you get it, you have to get the job description, you gotta put it on the salary ordinance. But then, if it's not here, which it wouldn't be, because you're adding it, next year we have to go through that first steps. you can do it right the first meeting in January, and if you could advertise for it, I could do that, and you could prove it in February, it's done. As long as they would approve it. And DLGF, needs they,
I don't know.
What were you gonna say there, Rick?
Well,
Your concern, she won't come on if we don't
She
give her
won't,
more money
she
over hours.
can't, if she can't come in at what we're doing already, she can't come in. I've already put a lot of training in her, knowing that Lily was gonna leave, and she filled in.
So currently, right now, it's 18 an hour.
18 an hour and 32 hours.
That's the 32 hours.
And like I said, she absolutely will not want insurance, she's already said,
But
she'll
Jamie,
sign up on
you
that.
add to that.
And all she would like to have is a week's vacation. It's the same thing I did.
And he would be utilizing her, what did you say, 4 or 5 hours a month?
About, yeah.
he said about 5% of the time.
So it's very
We're
costly.
already doing this.
It's a monthly report that would be sent to her, she goes through, make sure everything's correct.
It is, I just have to make sure that
Yes,
she,
she might
she,
be.
I'm
On a monthly
thinking,
basis.
Right.
when I'm gonna be on vacation for a week.
Yeah.
We're trying to not have to, not have somebody in here, because Lily's last day, she's giving her notice the 12th.
Man, I thought we were trying to create money. Okay.
You may have to, depends on what you do.
Well, depending on prioritizing what Rainey does versus what she should be focusing her time on, then allocating those other things that are not priority to someone else should allow for revenue drivers on lien letters and processing.
That's
liens.
what I
And then
wanna drive.
even if it takes 2 years, we can get money back from these liens that are filed.
Yes.
If you're filed appropriately and in a timely manner, and that's just one thing that's a revenue driver. I don't know how many other things that are
Oh,
being
yeah.
mismanaged time-wise, it could be revenue drivers.
Yeah, for me,
Maybe we see that, maybe we don't. My next question would be, as far as the hire, I don't know this girl, I've never seen her. So you're talking to somebody completely outside, I have no idea. Did we put anything out to hire for this job, for candidates? Did we look at
no one's
resumes?
given,
Did
no
we-
one's given us notice yet, and she surely will.
She said.
And you know the notice is coming.
I know, well, here's the
Like, they
thing,
already
I'll be,
up and running and
for me, the different thing is, I'll do what you need to be done, but none of that concerns me. The finances is what concerns me.
Okay.
Bringing in money is great, all that, down the road, but if you don't do something here, then I gotta do something.
So,
That's all.
Sophia, she's already been over here and getting trained.
She's been trained. She actually,
She can do what
she
Lily
can
did.
do what Lily does and a little bit more, because I knew possibly she couldn't come in. But my goal is to get her to handle the day-to-day stuff, and I can go after where I know there's money to be
Yeah.
made. Plus, balance.
I mean, if we're bringing that extra money, that cushion.
Yeah, like I said, you think I'm arguing with
She's
it.
already been taking her own time.
I gotta do the other stuff no matter what.
I don't know you.
You know,
How do you move the money around? We can't.
if you don't,
can't
if you
change
don't,
the final number.
yeah, if you don't do it now, we don't do it till later. Well, that was just brought up tonight. The idea of putting her on salary was for this afternoon.
So, we're not making money on, it's gonna be the same amount.
Other than Jake wanting to utilize a small percentage,
Yes.
some of that pay,
Yeah.
or that payroll part of that position would come out of his budget.
Let me say one more thing, though.
Yeah, but it's gonna have to be changed for him.
If we leave it the way it is now, I'm going to get a lot more activity out of Sophia than I did with Lily. 'Cause I knew she was leaving, so I didn't put stuff on her. Sophie's gonna come in and she's going to entertain us. She's gonna help do that stuff. I'm gonna go into collecting this money regularly. And we're gonna have her help. Right now, the park keeps me busy a lot. Doing the park stuff.
Is that your job?
It's always been up here. It's always been up here, and Hal even had suggested, pay some towards mine,
Out of the park board?
out of the park board. We can pay some towards her, and I'll hand that over to her. Right now, we collect money, we make appointments, we
That's
do.
more paperwork, which is fine.
It is.
Can I ask why the park board doesn't handle that in-house?
That's what we talked about on the park board.
I'm sorry.
That's what we did talk about on the park board, you can go ahead,
Curious.
since the board is
Because we have
together.
to-
Well, the thing is, we gotta take money and
We
you
gotta
gotta
take
take
the
it
money.
That's
Because
the
I'm
big-
done.
So it's the receiving of funds
that's the biggest.
by town property.
Right, and we answer the state board of accounts if the park board is not one.
And if she works 32 hours a week, she has to sign the same paperwork every hour.
Right.
So if, and you talked about maybe giving her benefits part-time, you cannot do that. Except for the fact that the health insurance, which is what will hang above your head as long as someone's working 32 hours. Because if someone comes in new, say she takes your place, and someone comes in, but they got you over a barrel, they're working 52 hours.
Well, before we would advertise that position, we could always change that ordinance for that position.
Yeah, you can do
Just
whatever you
because
want.
one person is being promoted, and then that first position has to be replaced, doesn't mean that that position's requirements have to stay the same as the previous person.
You just state that you have to change the job description.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's all we're
That's
talking about.
Okay,
Don't worry about that.
So besides approving this, the other thing you two would have to approve would be under this, extra hire. The funds would have to be moved from your budget into the extra hire, is that correct?
No. You would just, it would be lined out in the salary ordinance.
Oh, okay.
Well, the pay would, but still, you still have this, no matter what you do. If you wanna say, if you had
But we don't need to
5,000,
make any changes for Jake's budget to pay for the extra hire.
you have to make a change in the budget to move from where he wants to move that 5,000 to somewhere else in his budget under, say, IDAX coordinator, 5,000. He's got to take it out of somewhere else.
Mm.
You need to do that tonight, or otherwise you got to do the additional appropriation reduction thing. That's purely up to, I mean, like I said, I could do it, but the budget won't read right until I fix it later on, and we can decide.
So as long as we vote for an ordinance to take funding from Jake, pending line item, to appropriate to her now pay structure, agree to that, if that's what we're going to do.
Well, if you put it in the salary ordinance, that's good, but the problem is it's not really kosher until you fix it in the system. So that will be this part with, as far as, I don't know if I feel comfortable taking it out of there until it's approved by the state. Well, that's a little tricky, because you're paying out something that's not been, that you haven't approved. If you want it to be like, if it takes place January, February, more than likely, you're gonna have to do it now.
So, but we're already had this money out already, why do we have to change it?
Yeah,
This has to read exactly what you have in your budget.
yeah, we're not changing the amount of money, we're changing where it's coming from. That's what the vote.
That's what it is. Yeah.
We're not changing
And
these
you want-
numbers, we're just changing where some of this is being allocated.
Right,
from.
exactly.
Like
And I said, I can do it right away if you
the
do
police
that.
department.
If you say, hey, we wanna do 5,000 under PS lit, then he needs to tell me where he wants to get that 5,000. And then I'll fix it. That's not a problem.
And then he'll let me know.
You need to do it now. I think he just needs to do it. If I can put 5K out of that, and then I can take 5K out of whatever you want me to take it out of. Because that has to happen now or next year's fair.
Gotta
Because we'll
get
be able
it
to-
its own
You
line.
will not be able to pay her out PS lit until that line's in.
Take 25 from fuel and 25 from vehicle equipment.
Hang on just a second. 2,500 for fuel, what was the other one?
Vehicle equipment. If I think, I'm pretty sure it cuts it in half.
And then you're gonna pay her 5,000. So I make the difference. I'll just put that, I'll fix that before I send you the state. Now that's 5,000 there. Now, do you wanna do something out of general fund? I know the 10's there under extra hire, I can change that. Or you could just gonna keep her hourly, and you're gonna just do what it is. I may change it to part-time, because that's really,
I feel like it's part-time hourly position, I don't think we need to overcomplicate it. She's not, she doesn't want the benefits, she can sign off on them anyway.
She has to do it.
What would it matter how she's coded?
I'm gonna change it.
Work the hours to make your money.
I'm gonna change it to part-time, because I shouldn't have done that to begin with. So I'm gonna take care of
It's a
that.
part-time position, and then if in a year and a half, 2 years, 5 years, Ricky decides, I'm done, that girl takes Randy's position.
So when we-
It's already a part-time position, it's known as a part-time position, it's easier for me to fill that position and ask for resumes and put something out publicly that we're hiring for that position.
We need to get this approved, because we're gonna keep it part-time, right? Part-time, which is ours, like we're looking at. Or you want to do anything, you're gonna keep it at $18 too, right? Just when I do sell or something,
I feel like an entry level for that. Something.
and if you wanna make her 32 hours, I'm gonna put that in there too. And if she signs off on it, that'll take care of her, or we'd be aware of what's coming, right?
Oh, of course.
Okay, so we'll leave that alone, rest of it, the rest of it's gonna have to come out soon. So there's gonna be more money coming out there.
I don't think a whole lot, but it will be effective.
Right, this, you know,
It'll be $14,952
A year
out of sewer.
and we're supposed to be increasing those funds with this position.
and you understand there's no vacation, there's no.
I don't know about,
Well, the thing is, now, back up, because if you want to give her vacation, which is wonderful, she's gonna be full-time.
That's
According
the
to
same thing that they tend to be.
I'm going by that handbook, I don't care, I don't have a choice.
Okay.
You know, I'm sorry, we can be weird about it.
No, that's fine. You have
But
no choice.
I'm gonna hold it, I'm gonna hold the town to that line of that handbook. If we change the handbook and say, hey, part-time 32 hours, we give them some 5 hours of holiday, or give them all holidays and stuff, I think that's great, it's gotta change that. I just can't do it, I just won't do it to be good. And if that's what, and I think that would be a good thing, I think she'd love that.
I
You know,
just-
because they get Lily gets holidays off, she was good paid. If you say part-time, let's pay her some of those benefits, I think you can do that.
I'm
But that
looking
handbook
at
has,
2 years under. I'm probably not gonna be there. So I'm looking at getting her to where I am.
none of that bothers me, but before you, they're being right from, that's just the way it works.
So
I hold myself to the
there's
same.
a vote for the change from Jake's revenue lines or
Yeah,
budget lines to this. I'll make a motion to change the ordinance to move, that's not an ordinance. It's salary, wage, budget.
Yeah, there you go.
That's good.
Wage and salary approach, yeah.
change and then approve the budget with that change.
Yes. I'll make that motion.
So you do the budget, let's do it separate, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this is
Do I have a
just- this is
second
just
to-
a change to that budget.
Do I have a second to approve the salary change? Oh, everybody in favor say aye.
Aye.
Do I have a motion to approve the budget?
Let me ask you a question, is there anything else you want to do about the budget? Just leave it? I make a motion to approve.
Do I have a second? Everybody in favor say aye.
Aye.
I'll make the changes and upload it. That'll be very good. Next thing I'll be sending you is about the salary, and what you want to do with that. Because just because you've approved line items, doesn't mean someone gets the raise that you approved on the, that's just permission to pay, like I told you already. It wasn't that difficult. You know, you guys as a council, you guys are a piece of cake compared to the county. This is a case. I do this all day long. man.
All anybody had to say was, hey, it's the exact same we're doing. Oh, okay.
You guys got anything?
I don't have anything. Anybody have anything from the massive audience? Nothing from our abundance of audience?
Do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I will make a motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second? Everybody in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you, everybody.
Appreciate you guys coming.